And then the Chuds attacked.
That is
I
our
find it
usual
interesting that
intermittent.
the word chud has morphed into something new recently.
Yeah.
Um,
Not,
it's now referring to sort of a lunk-headed dude.
no, it's what the new post millennial left called the new post millennial right,
Something like, yeah, I guess that's a good description.
because the left started tankies and the right started the chuds.
The Chuds, cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Hmm. And coming directly from a parallel timeline, Captain Infinity,
Captain Infinity and beyond.
or inside, or
That
within.
doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
I've only seen one
But
Toy Story movie, the one that makes
I've
everyone cry. Which one is
I've
that?
never
Three?
I don't have no idea. I don't watch Disney movies.
I don't either, but I saw that one because I think I was babysitting at one time
Even when I
for
was seven
somebody.
years old, no, even when I was 7 years old, I did not want to watch Disney movies.
Oh, neither did I. I'm very anti Disney. As a kid, when the Wonderful World of Disney came on Sunday nights, I was just like, oh god,
Yeah.
I don't want to
The
see
thing
it.
is, I didn't mind the TV series. I love the Gummy Bears. I love Ducktales. I love um,
Oh, I never saw any of that because it
Darkwing.
was after
Yeah,
my
Dark.
time.
And yeah, but I saw those. They were from the 80s and
Right.
90s. And the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck. I saw those. I liked those. What I didn't like was the goddamn movies because they were ridiculous.
Well, the stuff that was on the Wonderful World of Disney when I was a kid in the 70s was like
Hmm.
all the leftover Disney stuff from the 60s.
Hmm. In the Kurt Russell
Herbie the
movies.
Love Bug, the
Oh,
Shaggy
but
DA,
I like
stuff
Herbie.
like that.
I like the Herbie movies.
Herbie was okay. Herbie was one of the better things. I can't even remember all the stuff that was on because
Well,
I avoided watching it for the most
if
part.
it starts Kurt Russell as a young boy, then it probably sucks. Don't you agree, Wilson? If it stars young Kurt Russell as a young boy, it probably sucks.
If it stars Kurt Russell as a young boy, it probably sucks.
Talking about Disney movies from the 60s.
I don't know if I can agree with that. Now, granted, I have not gone back and watched any of them, but I do recall when I was watching them, I enjoyed them. The only one I probably would say I did not enjoy Kurt Russell movie, maybe Soldier, but I saw it at least twice,
Yeah,
so I don't mind it too much. Um, but yeah,
because
I
there,
enjoy Kurt Russell.
there's a western, which is kind of where they finished off the TV series with Charles Bronson. Um, and the most annoying part of the movie is having Kurt Russell there. Is like Wesley Crusher in a cowboy movie 20 years before Star Trek TNG.
I can understand that. It's not a movie I've seen, but
I
as you
used to know the name
talked
of that
about
thing.
it sounds vaguely familiar.
Hold on, Charles Bronson, Kurt Russell. Uh,
And if
the
it's the
travel.
movie I
Ah, there
think
it
it
is.
is,
The
I
the
thought they.
travels of Jamie McFeeters.
I do
Never
not
heard of
know.
it.
I don't. I've never heard of it, but I did hear a story from Kurt Russell about him filming that because basically it was Charles Bronson's birthday during the
Mhm.
shoot, and he bought and gave Charles Bronson a present.
Oh,
And before that point in time in his life, no one ever gave him a present for his birthday.
yeah.
Wow.
No,
So
yeah.
that
As soon
kind
as
of that kind of sealed their friendship. And anything the kid wanted to do, Charles was like backing him. So the kid got yelled at for skateboarding in the in the parking lot of whatever the film studio was. He got yelled at by security, and apparently the next day, Bronson is standing there with two skateboards, and they were skateboarding together in the lot, and
Yeah.
nobody bothered them. So I would say good things came from that production.
Mm. There's Ted Goblin. Hello, Ted Goblin.
Welcome.
Oh, and here's Jean Malo. How you doing, Jean? Finally found me.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome.
It's another Canadian. We have a Canadian invasion today.
Excellent, excellent. The nicest invasion we've had so far.
So, yeah, I've read Charles Bronson's biography on Wikipedia, and t- he had a tough childhood.
Yes, so it was a big deal that he got a gift. I think it was like a remote control car or something to that effect.
Cool. Missing Mars is also here. What's up?
Good evening.
Welcome.
Of
So
course, Kurt Russell was in a superhero movie by playing the Nick Fury character on the Fast and the Furious. Before you came in, before we started, we were talking that the Fast and the Furious are superhero movies.
I could agree with that. They just haven't shown the episode. They haven't shown the one movie where they gained their superpowers. That should be coming anytime soon.
No,
The Fast and the Furious hidden years.
no, it's more like the first years of the Marvel universe, and everybody's powers are kind of low key. And then by the time we get to the 80s, everybody's insanely overpowered, and that's how they're doing with the Fast and the Furious.
Mhm. I could definitely agree upon that. So I only heard about this because it didn't really. It popped up on my feed for a hot second, but I didn't really get to look into it. But we're 2 weeks away from San Diego Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
And so, of course, people are rushing to get their books published for the con. A
Yep.
matter of fact, I'm still getting emails from publishers going, here's the page I promised you last week. Here's some more stuff that I told you I would get to you. It's like, all right. The few times we talked, the printer told us or told you, drew him to me that we're going to need it by Friday. Okay. There's been at least 3 Fridays that's come and went. And then now I have till Monday to finish off some stuff. All right, cool. But as that's happening in one area, Comics Wellspring has up and closed their printing outlet, although they were still taking orders as soon as like 2 days ago.
Comic Wellspring?
Comic Wellspring had popped up at some point in time within the last 10 to 15 years, and they were major indie printers for a while. I never used it, but I did look into it at some point. I ended up going with Kablam at the time, who are still around. Wellspring, the people I've heard that have used them were really happy with their work. But all of a sudden, they were taking up orders. San Diego's in 2 weeks, and all of a sudden, people got emails saying that we're done.
Wow.
It's not even that, oh, we can't, the deadline has approached, and, this is our cutoff date. We're not taking any more, because some printers do that. You have to list date. After that is all cut off. But no, they just shut down production. They're completely done as of this morning.
Wow.
And as I haven't heard from many people who are using them, but as I mentioned, I was speaking to a publisher friend of mine whose friends are scrambling to find a printer for San Diego. And it's like just completely wild. Because from what I understand, they were doing quite well. Or I don't know how well they were doing, to be honest with you, because again, to up and shut everything off, I don't know what had happened. But that's like the comic news that I've heard this morning. And unfortunately, I've been so busy trying to get stuff out that I haven't really got to surf the internet to find out what happened.
Printer going out of business. Ooh, or something. We don't know.
Right. So as far as I'm aware of, they're done.
Interesting. Where are they located? Do you have any idea?
That I do not know. I am not aware of the ins and outs of them. I think they were part of another company for a short while. Like there was a little while that there was like a bunch of printers popped up over the years for indie print for indies, and like some would have a connection with comics. Oh, what was the other one called? Uh, there was some people that was trying to get into distribution as well. So there was little ones popping up here and there, but they didn't stay too long. Wellspring lasted longer than most, but not as long as like I mentioned, Kablam. Kablam, I was more attracted to Kablam. It's digital printing, so small print runs.
Right.
But they also had their own distribution network thing called, I think, Comic Monkey or something like that. So Indie Planet, sorry. It was Indie Planet. And then you could sell your books that you published with them through them. There was no exclusivity. You basically, since they already had the files to print from, they set up a print to order system. There was no real book to be sent to the comic shops or anything like that.
Right.
As the publisher, it was our jobs to go, hey, if you want our books, they're available here.
Right.
And again, it's one of those things that, it was up to the people, it was up to the publishers to, put that button on their website that's like, oh, do you want to buy books? You could get them here. The problem with that is that you're now sending people away from your website to another website, and then they got to press buttons to order stuff. So I think we only ever had one book ordered from us, and it might have been ourselves to test the system out.
Oh, that's what happened to F. Scott Fitzgerald at the end of his life with Gatsby. The only copies that were sold were to him.
Nah.
You could tell from his royalty statements. How brutal is that?
Was it?
Like 1939, 1940. He was the only one he'd have to go to the bookstore and they'd have to special order him his own book. Then it would show up on his royalty statement that his book sold 10 copies that month. Mm-hmm. All to him.
Well, this is way before that they assigned that book to be a must-read in high school.
Oh, yeah. He was dead by the time it became a classic.
So it became sellable once he was dead, and then the publishers pushed it. So the publisher gets the money. Allegedly, I don't know.
There's a real journey to how it became a classic, but it took a while. But I just had to get some packages. That was kind of low-key.
Kurt Russell, Steve Stronghold, the Commander in Sky High. Haven't seen that.
Sky High was entertaining.
Mm-hmm. And the Invisible Kid, and now you see him, now you don't.
Never saw the Invisible Kid. I think that's the one with Robbie the Robot.
I have no idea.
It's the one other movie where Robbie started, because they really was selling Robbie the Robot as an actor. So not only was he built and made for Forbidden Planet, he started guest starring in other TV shows, and he became like a staple guest star in the 70s and the 80s. But another movie he was in was called The Invisible Kid. But I never got to actually watch that particular movie.
Is the art on the thumbnail Johnny Nemo?
It is Johnny Nemo, yes.
There we go. I thought I recognized it, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah.
I have to go and reread these again since I bought them a couple months ago.
I've actually never read Johnny Nemo. I've got the pirated comics in a hard drive somewhere, but
I may as well not have never read it because I read it back in the 80s.
And you never gone back to it?
There's only like 4 issues of it or something like that.
Yeah.
A couple of them might even be reprints. And there was always like that one I was missing, which I showed and I ordered like this winter, but I haven't gone back and read them. But I remember almost nothing about them. But I just got
I'm not sure if there's a Johnny Nemo, if there are Johnny Nemo stories in a British magazine.
Got myself a heat gun.
Ah, okay.
They're only $20.
Mm-hmm. Remember to start on a low setting first.
Yes.
And work your way up. I messed up a rebuild of my snow speeder. And when plastic decides it's going to bend, it's going to bend fast and quick.
Well, I got it to try to take the glue off of those JLA books, and also so I don't have to use matches when I'm melting the wax thread on my book binding. I was like, you know what?
Ah, okay.
I was just doing that again with matches, melting the thread. And I'm like, you know what? This doesn't seem like the most efficient method for melting wax on a thread.
And a hair dryer wouldn't be warm enough?
What was that?
And a hair dryer wouldn't be warm enough?
I don't even have a hair dryer. And for $20, I'll get a heat gun. Okay. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, I'll give that a try. That would seem to do the job, I would think.
Yeah.
Creating a complete comic book is a little bit of work there. I can't even with printing, publishing, marketing, and distribution.
Oh, yeah. It is tough.
It's not for the weak.
Sure, and you got to do all that.
And sometimes it's not for the strong.
It is tough. I wonder if Brenner Printing is still around. They were in Texas, and they printed our book back in the late 90s, and they printed a lot of black and white indie books.
I don't know if they eventually were absorbed by another company.
It was 1998 was a long time ago, so I don't know. Kick-ass cover of Johnny Nemo, yeah.
Mm-hmm. When $20 was something. If the 1987 Zeitgeist was squeezed into one comic book cover, it would be Johnny Nemo.
It should be around 87. Let me see.
Brenner is still in publications.
Oh, cool. And Missing Mars says hair dryer is quite different than a heat gun.
Oh, yeah.
So it's probably speaking from experience.
Let's see. Brett Ewan's Eclipse Comics Strange Days presents the Johnny Nemo magazine number 2. $2. So this wasn't cheap. Buying these on the stands. The year was 1985. Some nice artwork in this.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. I still haven't reread it yet. Oh, Splat. Ooh, oh boy. I just tore it.
Oh.
little more fragile than I thought.
Well, for $2
anymore.
For $2 in 1985, you expected more.
Well,
yeah.
You just now made all the other copies that much more rare.
Yeah. you got to slap that one to raise its value.
I'm going to put tape on it. You know, that way it'll have restoration. It'll only get a purple label.
Should be the blue painter's tape. Make it really obvious.
Black electrical tape. That's what's on my Treasury edition from the 70s. Black electrical.
I think with restoration in books, I really don't get it. In cars, you want the cars to be restored. What you want to make sure is that the cars are restored with the correct parts. So I don't understand this thing with restoration in books being making them worse. If the book looks better, why not?
To me, it's wild because I watch those restorations of posters, and you see it, and it's like they do this, they do that to them, and it's fascinating to watch. But at the same time, it's like, and it increases the value. And I was like, what? You do that in comics? You even attempt to do it in comics. All of a sudden, no. And it's just basically what the masses are willing to accept.
And by masses, you mean the high-end collectors.
Yeah, exactly. The hoity-toity ones that,
Yeah.
aren't
You know
even
what's
reading the
interesting
books.
about those, poster restoration videos? Because of course they're in my feed too. I
Right.
saw them restoring one today. It was what was a Disney
The
film from the
Haunted
60s,
Mansion
A
poster.
Haunted Mansion.
That's what's
And
currently not popular. That's currently what's available.
I don't know if you noticed, but within their montage of stuff, uh, they used a ruling pen. I don't know if you remember what a ruling pen is. It usually came in a compass set,
Right. I believe that's
and
the kind to pour ink. You use a brush to put ink into it.
that's the one. It's
Yes.
got a ruling pen. On the tip of a ruling pen has two like metal prongs that come together like this. Like they don't quite come together, they stay apart, and there's a little dial there that can make the prongs go further, and it's tiny, further apart or closer together. And then you take your brush and you put a little bit of ink in between that ruling pen, and then that's what you'd use to make straight black lines. And that's what was used before they invented technical pens.
Right.
And then technical pens have been replaced by these little black markers. But they were it was the point of the restoration when they were masking stuff out. And they
Yes.
put masking fluid in the ruling pen. So
Uh,
then they could draw with the masking fluid. And I was
that's a
just like, whoa,
great
I've
idea.
never seen that. I haven't seen a ruling pen in decades,
Right.
let alone a ruling pen with because like by the time I went to art school in 84, ruling pens weren't a thing anymore. Like everybody
Right.
was using Peck pens because
Yeah.
ruling pens are so clumsy to use and you can mess up real easily with them. That ink can blurt out like it's not supposed to in a second. So it's like
Yeah.
they were kind of obsolete in 1985. So to see
Yeah.
one nowadays with masking fluid in it, I was like, whoa.
It's a great idea to use because I've used
Yeah,
masking fluid, and it's like, yeah,
right.
that would work well.
Yeah, I
I
thought the same thing. I was like, whoa.
The first one I ever got is when I bought a compass set,
Right.
and it
They always
came
come with the compass
it came
sets.
with the compass set, and it's like this is just wild. I
And
mean,
you're
and again, it's
supposed to use it with you're supposed to be able to attach it to the compass and make
yes,
an ink circle too. Talk
mhm,
about a nightmare.
yes, completely. I remember getting it, but again, by the time I went to high school to learn about all this stuff, rapidographs was a
Yeah,
big thing.
right.
You got that set, you paid an arm and a leg for that set, and you kept all those pens nice and clean.
Uh-huh.
Until those went down in prices, and eventually, it's just easier to buy a new set. But I
Right.
remember the compass that I had came with that, but also came with the piece to just screw your rapidograph pen right to it. And that's exactly what I did. I probably didn't realize what that was for until I read How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Because unless someone shows you how to use a ruling pen, you'll never figure it out
Right.
because it's just not intuitive.
Hmm.
And it's a
Exactly.
nightmare to use. It's like
Yeah.
you have to practice and then get it just right. And then you make one line and you have to fill it up again and practice and get it just right and make one line. It's just like,
And
I
to
imagine there
know
were people who were expert with it in like 1955.
probably because it's like, and it's not only using the pen and getting it at the right angle, it's the ruler that you're using because it could get under the ruler.
If your ruler's not beveled, you're
Yep,
doomed.
there's just the nightmare just to get
Yeah, an
a
ink
line
line.
drawn. Yep.
Not for the weak, not for the strong. Very steel-worthy Wilson quote there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Go ahead and
Well,
use it. Just give me a quarter whenever you do.
I'll have to find that.
Johnny
Okay.
Nemo.
Yeah, there's a complete Johnny
Oh,
Nemo hardcover. Yeah.
from
Uh,
2014. Imagine that.
yeah, and yeah, didn't you have the Strange Days from Eclipse?
Yes,
Okay, there
I
are
have.
Johnny Nemo stories inside.
Right. I think both Johnny Nemo and Paradax kind of had the same thing where, because that was Strange Days, where they were both in like an Eclipse anthology, and then they reprinted them in an issue, and then had an issue or two of a regular comic. So it's like some of the like issue one might be reprints from Strange Day. I'm not even sure.
It
I'm
isn't.
gonna have to get them all in one spot and look at them.
It isn't. It's an original story. It's so the hardcover supposedly reprints everything,
Right.
but not in the order that they were published, which is not necessarily a problem because I don't think there's a specific chronology in all of those stories. But it did debut in a British magazine. It appeared in Deadline alongside Tank Girl.
Oh, okay.
So Johnny Nemo and Tank Girl debuted in the same comic.
Oh wow.
Mhm. Captain Infinity, sorry about your Nemo. Maybe you created another universe.
There's a universe where my Johnny Nemo magazine is still intact.
Yes.
I don't think I've had a spine split like that in a comic in a long time.
But it seems like the right time period because I recall doing that to those books around that time. You would pick it up, you start to read it. That's happened to me a few times, and I think that's around the same. I think it's the same publisher that Dark
Eclipse.
Horse ones have done that as well.
Lots of color rub in the yellow too.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Is that where you grab the comic?
No, that's just the rubbing from another comic that was probably next to it.
Yeah, most likely they would probably stack together, not in bags.
Not in bags, just sitting there in the dollar bin for years and years and years before I think I ordered this from mycomicshop.com, or I must have gotten it from there. I can't remember at the moment.
And that being Eclipse, that would have gone into the 50-cent bins.
Yeah.
Back then.
So it's probably in somebody's bin for a long, long time.
So just for the education, Brenner Publishing Solutions are still around.
Oh, okay.
So it's called Brenner Publishing Solutions, and they're located in Texas.
Yep.
San Antonio, okay. Texas.
They're still around.
So if you want to, there's a take a tour. So it looks like they got videos of the actual printers going.
Do they have comics on their website showing us?
It's not specifying. It looks pretty generic. Offset printing. They do direct mail.
Because the one I've used with Terry Kavanaugh is Printing Center USA, and they're in Montana. They did a nice job.
Oh, okay. It talks about binary services. They're not focusing on any comic book stuff on the website. They're showing the usual business cards, letterheads, the business stuff, folders, recent projects. Let's see if that shows us anything. It does not. They're showing they're really leaning into like giant banners and signs. So if you didn't know they did comics, you wouldn't be able to tell from their website.
Oh, okay. Huh. Did you make it to the comic shop this week?
As a matter of fact, I did. I made it to the shop. Where did I put the books? I made it to the shop. I picked up this week's books and a set of books that I left there last week because I knew I was missing
Savage Dragon and whatever.
Savage Dragon. So it's like, I was missing last week's new books, and I picked some off from the shelves. And so I can show you the ones off the shelves because those are currently open. So I picked up issue number 2 of that Zorro book.
That the art is so good in that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to reading this. And while I was picking this up, I found a new Zorro book they're doing.
Oh, that's right. I saw that one too. The art's not nearly as good, but yes, I did see it.
Zorro's Legacy. I figured why not give it a chance since this Zorro, I
You can
believe you said, was 3 issues.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's see what they'll do with Zorro in modern time by the
You
looks
can
of it.
compare and contrast.
Exactly. So I got those. For nostalgia's sake, and since I do not own one in my collection, I got a facsimile of Amazing Spider-Man 129.
I already have that one.
It's one I didn't get it the first time it came out as a facsimile because in my mind I was going back and forth as I really want the original issue.
Uh-huh.
I was supposed to get it in the 90s because when the comic book shop I worked for closed up, the manager of the shop said he'll sell me his, and I never heard from him again.
Ah.
So it's like when this came. Now I know I have a reprint somewhere. I'm almost sure I have one with an acetate cover that was
Okay.
reprinted sometime in the 90s. But as far as like a facsimile, when it first came out, I didn't grab one. And then after having that conversation with you at some point about facsimiles to, it would fit a hole that's a bit expensive, so why not?
Yeah.
So I picked this one up over the facsimile of Amazing Spider-Man, I think 13 was the
14.
facsimile.
I got that one.
It was 14. Okay. So I was
14.
going back and forth which one I wanted to get. So I figured I'll get this one. And if the other one's still on the stand next week, I'll pick that one up. And then as far as other new books are concerned, I picked up the second issue of Mask. Mobile Armor Strike Command with a K.
You gotta love that.
So issue number 2.
Those personalities do not jibe with the cartoon.
No, I think they're different characters altogether. Same names, but
is mask such a good word that you want to make a whole toy line around it that have nothing to do with masks?
Well, they wear helmets. And I guess helmets didn't work well for an acronym. Maybe they didn't think that far into it.
You would think they'd have like magical masks or something.
No, just masks that worked, and well, not masks.
Just helmets.
Just helmets. And then you create a toy line around them, and you have the figures this big. The figures are tiny because you had to have them fit into the cars. But there was enough, I would say, historically speaking, a lot of kids did enjoy them, although they couldn't play with them with their other toys, especially with their G.I. Joes, but they enjoyed Mask enough. I watched the cartoon a little bit. I own maybe one action figure that I found at a flea market, but that's about it. And I never got into like the newer sets that are out there. And then the last book that I picked up off the shelf is the 616 Earth's Mightiest Day. So it's Dr.
Okay, that one came out on June 16th.
Oh, did it? Okay, yeah. I saw it on the rack and I was like, let me pick it up to give it a try. Because if anything, I'll get a Doom mask out of it. We could possibly get an exclusive cover, which could be either the black or white edition or the ultra rare artist sketch cover. But we have no idea what book is inside here. So maybe Doom Quest #1 or Avengers 25 facsimile. There's 2 types of those. Fantastic Four 258 facsimiles. There's also 2 versions of that. Or Iron Man 149 facsimile. And there's also 2 versions of that. And, I like getting these because it's fun to open it up on the show.
Yep.
See what we get. So do we want to open that now or do we want to hold on?
Let's open it now, since you got it out. No? You might need your scissors. I can never open these without scissors.
You are correct. And it's so frightening to open it up with scissors because it's so close to the book. You don't want it to cut the good part of the book, or any part of the books, really.
Captain Infinity's remember all of the anthology comics. You forgot. You forgot Toxic, which is also a British anthology.
Toxic. I don't think I ever read that one. All right.
Eric
Here you
P.
go.
Wait a second. Eric P. is wondering if it's an artist sketch cover. What are the chances it will be an AIM agent?
Oh, it wouldn't be that at all. It is. Whoops. Okay, now that was the mask. So we have Doom Quest is one of the comics, and the other comic is the facsimile edition of Iron Man 149.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Which do I have this book?
I still have my Iron Man 149 and 150. There was some nice art in there. J.R. Jr. and Bob Layton, I remember.
I think I have this as a trade on a trade paperback. Because this is the one where they eventually end up going to Camelot.
Yep.
We don't
They
find
got
that out
thrown back in time.
until the next issue. And here is the Doom's mask. Looks like it's a Kirby Doom. And even very, very Burger King very Burger King cardboard type of thing to fit your head on there. So there we go. So I like the Doom mask.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
It's small.
Oh, come on.
because it's
No, you got to
Spider-Man.
put it on.
Well, of course. I feel like it should have a red and a blue lens, a green lens on it to make everything 3D.
There he is, Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom. And,
You're right,
and
it is a little small.
it is quite small. But it is canon to my history of being Doom, so
Yep.
pretty neat.
Very wild. Yeah, I got the Amazing Spider-Man 14 facsimile. This is my one pickup off the shelf because I had 7 comics already. I didn't pre-order this, probably because I had too many for the week. And I said, you know what? I'll pick that up. Little Spidey versus the Hulk action, little first Green Goblin. Ooh, on sale.
And that book was made famous because of an ex-girlfriend really angry at her husband.
That's right. Wrote all over it.
Wrote all over it. And CG.
Now that's CGC. The Angry Wife variation.
Yes. So the Doom Quest book, as I'm flipping in it, is in black and white.
Huh. That's interesting. Now, is that a reprint or is that new?
I'm thinking this is new. I do not see anything to indicate it was published before. Let's see.
Yeah, and last week when I was doing final order cutoff, once again, I already had like 8 comics on my pull list. And there was another 6 I would have ordered. Except I don't have that much money for comics every week.
Right.
And I was just like, wow, there are so many comics I want to try.
Oh,
like there's
says in
there's
Indonesia that is black and white edition.
One of the ones I wanted to order but didn't. Godzilla Monsterpiece Theater presents Roar of the Worlds #1, and it's Kyle Baker doing Godzilla.
Oh, neat! I did not see that on the shelf.
It's not on the. It's not. It was final order cutoff, so it won't be on the shelf for another few weeks.
Right. Okay.
But you see, yeah, Kyle Baker is doing an issue of Godzilla. I was like, whoa.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Godzilla is having a very nice.
But it was like $8, and I already had 8 books on my list. So I'm like, gotta let it go. Like I said, there's just so many. Support modern comics. There's so many good ones.
Yes, very much so. Looking at the shelves today, I did maybe I walked by the shelves at least 3 times to take a good look at to see if there's, I mean, I picked up more than enough, but at the same time, it's like, you almost want to grab everything just to see what's out there.
Captain Finney asks, "What is a Toxic?" Toxic was an anthology comics magazine that was published in the early '90s in the UK. There's a bunch of Pat Mills stuff in there, including what were then new martial law stories. and the first comic book stories written by Mike Carey appear in the last few issues before it was canceled. He was running a series back then, and it was never finished because the comic stopped. They've thrown back in freaking what now? Who threw back what?
Thrown back.
Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater presents Roar of the World, slated for August 12th.
August 12th. Yeah, another one I passed on that I, was interested in, but it's $15, is the Heavy Metal Extreme Futurism special. It just sounded cool.
It definitely does.
It's a collection of extreme futuristic stories in a one-shot heavy metal special magazine. I was just like, I've got a ton of comics already coming that week. So that was another one, I was interested in, but had to pass up on. Let's see.
Very 90s sounding title.
Yeah.
And it makes me go, if they have to put it on the cover that it's extreme, is it?
But from heavy metal, so maybe it is. And it's extreme futurism. That's not that catchy to the normal person.
Right.
Extreme is catchier than extreme futurism.
Uh-huh.
People go, oh, extreme futurism.
Futurism.
Thrown back in time?
Gonna go back in time.
He's even back in Swamp Thing. Rick Beach is back in Swamp Thing.
He's even 48. Yeah, a lot of times those $8 Godzillas are 48 pages. So that does explain the price. But still, they're a tough add-on when I've already got 8 comics.
Buying up new issues of Epic Illustrated. That's a pretty new title. Yeah.
How much is it costing you for back issues of Epic Illustrated? I have no idea how much I imagine not that much, but
every now and then I check issue 1 because I have it, and it's like, it's not even worth to put up. So it's like, I would say it's very affordable. The last time I looked.
Yeah, because number 1 is not the first appearance of Dreadstar. That's probably number 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I think it's number 3. Because there were
people barely care about Dreadstar.
Yeah, nowadays nobody remembers. Because Metamorphosis Odyssey, sometimes they had 2 parts of the story in one issue. Sometimes they just had 1.
Yeah, Dreadstar. Only when Dreadstar was rumored to be a television show did people care.
Right.
That was a decade ago now, I think.
Has it? Oh, wow. Yeah,
which, by the way, I mentioned before, I'm watching The Beauty, and Ashton Kutcher did show up in episode 3, so that's the show. But I'm enjoying it. I gotta say, it's not quite like the comic, but they're doing a good job.
Okay.
Is extreme futurism the new cyberpunk?
I think extreme futurism may have been around before cyberpunk. I bet there was some extreme futurism in like the 1950s.
They wouldn't call it extreme futurism because Rob Liefeld hadn't invented the word yet.
Extreme futurism.
Or maybe it was Jack Kirby who invented it. Because it's from the Centurions. Power extreme.
To the extreme.
And beyond.
One of the first issues I got this week.
There were plenty, right?
Dispatched, #1. The writer is B. Clayton Moore. The artist is Daniel Heaty. That's why I bought it, because of the Daniel Heaty art. He did, what was that Blade Runner? Skin Police. I first saw his stuff with Uber that Kieran Gillen was writing. So I've been buying his stuff whenever I see it. It looks pretty nice. This reads like an action movie. It's the story. Matter of fact, it reads like Die Hard. like the Daniel Hiti artwork, but this guy right here is a delivery guy. And as he's delivering a package, goes lots of introduction stuff. And as he's delivering a package to some company, where are they? But some guys are robbing it. They've got some plot going on. Where are our robbers? I can't even find them. There's our robbers dressed up as whoever. And so he's delivering the package. He gets trapped in the building. But of course, he's some kind of special forces guy or something. So it's going to be him against the crew. But it was well done. I enjoyed it. A good, solid, Die Hard comic. Like I said, I'm a Daniel Hiti fan, so. Which Carl told me to pronounce that one. What was that?
I've already taught you how to pronounce the vowels because it's Spanish.
Carl told me that G was an H. Hopefully I'm getting it right.
The G is an H, but it's stronger, so you have to pronounce it. Jete.
Jete. Okay.
Jete. No, it has to come from the throat.
Jete.
That's right. Well, next week I'll tell you again.
Yeah, because I'll forget. That's how these things go.
Captain Infinity needs to buy the Uncanny X-Men omnibus because I told him about Days of Future Past, the best X-Men. What's usually considered the best X-Men story in the history of the X-Men, and he hasn't read it yet.
And I said, Days of Future Past was the story to me that ruined comics. Not because it was a bad story, because it was a good story. And everybody learned the value of creating an alternate version of your favorite superhero so you can kill them. And now we've got endless stories of endless variations of our favorite superheroes being killed.
Multiverse. Yeah.
The League of Reed Richards. Kill 10 of them, there's 10 more. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Eric P. likes Beagley more as a Hawaiian Dick.
I think Hawaiian Dick might be the only other thing I've read of his. I recognize his name from that, but I don't remember if I've read other stuff.
His name's been around for a while, but I don't think there was anything that ever caught my fancy.
Yeah, he wrote that was a solid, like nothing spectacular. You've seen it before, but Daniel Hiti, too much phlegm in that. Not enough too much. He did such a nice job on it too. And his art doesn't look like it did on Skin Police in Uber. It's like his art changed a little bit. Maybe he's using 3D models for this one because there's a lot of like boring, bland office building stuff that's in perfect perspective. That's how you can tell. The perspective is perfect.
People are complaining about artists using AI, but when they were using models, nobody complained. I mean, the models are the same. I mean, if those things were some sort of 3D objects,
people complained. It was just a few.
A few complained, not a lot. But not many people really knew how many artists were using it or using some form of it. And it's for the building stuff. So it's like no one's complaining about that. Now they're using it for people, bodies. Not many people knew about that.
If they're all the same height in a crowd scene, they're models.
Right. Yeah. Anybody who's using Clip Studio is using models. Because that's built into Clip Studio now. You can lay out your whole comic book in Clip Studio using 3D models and then just draw right over top of it. I haven't, but I've seen it done.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of artists that have been using it, and I heard that there's even some that were in the works for the pros that no one knows about those particular ones. Again, they're not that far away from AI, but they're not using AI.
It's like using photo reference except a whole lot easier. And like Paolo said, when you see everybody, but the problem is everybody's got the same body type.
Mm-hmm. That Goblin was learning analog perspective.
That's right. He showed me some old perspective book he bought. He sent me a link to it. I was like, "Oh, cool."
Glenn and Mike Grell both photocopied skyscrapers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's an old trick.
That's a very old trick. Everyone was doing that.
In like
But
90,
you can use it like once.
Yeah.
If you do it for the whole comic, people would catch on.
Yeah.
And like I remember that famous shot John Byrne drew. I do it all the time digitally now. You draw half of something that's symmetrical, and then you just flop it.
And 90 and when it was horses, 99% of artists would just trace a picture of a horse. Because everybody, a lot of unless you were into westerns, everybody hated drawing horses.
There were a few artists who loved to draw horses. Everybody else was just like, a horse. Paul Becton loved to draw horses.
Oh yeah,
he was a western. He was good at it too. Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think they hit it, especially because it was not a secret that everybody used photo reference.
Right.
You kind of want your artists to use photo reference.
Photo reference is encouraged. It's just, you're not going to have everything from memory. Not everyone is Michael Golden, who's like, he draws it once, he knows exactly how that machinery works. Stuff like that. You know, he's out there drawing tanks off the top of his head because he saw one years ago. Not everyone has that ability.
Or Barry Windsor Smith, who just comes up with the most outrageous mechanical arrangements.
Speaking of artwork, Don Heck Iron Man artwork sold for $3.875 million.
Oh, that Iron Man splash page, right?
Yeah.
Man, artists are really on the wrong end of the supply chain for escalating art prices.
Yes, completely. Because he got $10 or whatever to draw that in the first place.
And then it was stolen, probably.
And then and probably never got the
never
artwork
even
back.
returned to him.
Mm-hmm. But according to this article, he is now listed as the most expensive. It is the most expensive interior comic book page that has sold so far.
I just my friend Ed was just telling me that this spring there's in New York City there was a new comic book art gallery opened up by a guy who owns a couple of them in France. He was like, there's no comic book art gallery in New York City. I'm going to open one.
That poor guy.
And they had a Klaus Janson show.
Really?
Yeah.
Neat.
And Ed told me his pages were going for $40,000.
Damn.
That was the price on them that they were selling it. I don't know what their pages of, whatever he's done in his career, but they were going for that.
See, you gotta have art galleries and art shows and art exhibits especially at the conventions.
It's slowly happening. The Society of Illustrators in New York has been having more and more showings of comic book artists, of original comic book art. There's a place I've never been to called, I think, Metropolis Comics that sells original art.
Right.
So there are some places, obviously not as big, but there's been more of it. And for a little while at comic conventions, there have been, for a small time, Stan Lee's art collection was on tour, going to different comic shows. And when I go to like New York Comic Con and stuff like that, all the vendors who sell the original artwork are having larger displays to show the artwork. No, it makes sense. They want to sell this stuff.
Right. That was always the art show at a con, the original art vendors with their pegboard behind their table.
Yes. Exactly. So it's like I look at those and those are neat, and then I go back down to Artist Alley and see what the original artists have, just because trying to find something that might be a little more affordable.
That doesn't count as an art show. You need to have people with
Yeah,
berets,
we know it doesn't really count.
smoking a cigar like this, looking at the art.
No smoking in New York. Sorry. As much as I want to walk around like Pablo Picasso with the big cane and what was it, an aardvark? That he's just like walking around with this thing.
That may have been Salvador Dali.
Salvador Dali. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say, Salvador Dali. And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of artist I want to do. Is just walk around like a madman. Because that seems like fun. I could probably get the cane pretty easily. The aardvark, I don't know. If it might have been an anteater, but I'm not positive.
Oh, you're right. It might have been an anteater.
Might have been an anteater now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's probably illegal to get an aardvark.
It probably is.
They have to bring it from Africa. Todd never did send his love checks to Akira and skyscraper photographers. No, probably not. Todd just gave an interview to the Dollar Bin Bandits, I think. From New York, since I flew to New York and photographed the skyscrapers myself. Right. If you're on the plane.
I've done that too. Yeah. I think that they might still be here somewhere. I used to buy like photo books when I could find them cheap. I got like New York in the 60s, New York in the 40s.
I have one, I think it's called New York Then and Now.
Yeah, I remember that one. I don't think I ever got that one, but I remember it. But I used to buy New York books just to use for reference. I even had one.
When I get a cosplay model reference for a French-made transdimensional assassin, then I'll fight to get those photos. That's oddly specific. You must tell that story.
I just gave away one last semester that I've had forever to one of my students, that I bought for reference in the 90s and never used, on Irish cottages. So there's a whole book of these cozy Irish cottages. I never had any call to draw an Irish cottage. So I passed it on to somebody this semester, I believe. I think that was one of the ones.
Barnes and Noble's bargain area got a lot of photo books from there for weapons, cars.
That's where I used to get them.
Military stuff, yeah. And like I said, skyscrapers. I have one on the universe for stars and nebulas and stuff like that.
Crab nebulas.
When Ed Brubaker was here, the good thing about American artists coming to European shows is that they're all treated like royalty.
Mm-hmm.
So I
wouldn't even know what to do with that.
Yeah, he did the convention, he did the panel, and the next Monday he had nothing to do because he only had a flight to catch on Tuesday. So, do you want to go visit Sintra, which is a place with the highest concentration of castles and palaces per square mile in Portugal? So he went there and he took pictures. Then he sent them to Eddie Granov or something to do to use as reference in a Daredevil story, because Matt Murdock, when Matt Murdock was trying to get away from the Hand, he stopped by Portugal, visited the castles, and now I can use that reference.
Reference.
So you just needed to do a story set in Ireland, and you missed the opportunity.
Here's another comic I got this week. Issue 2 of Strength and Ash, another Stefano Cardicelli book. Seems his books come out from Keen Spot or that Mike Mart's company.
Mad Cave?
Yeah. And this might be his weirdest one yet. It's hard to describe. It's like a superhero book of this little kid, who's trying to be a superhero, but no one likes super. I couldn't even tell you what the plot is. It's just so strange. It's like a and the writer is Evan K. Pozios, Pozios. I love the Stefano Carticelli artwork, but this is the weirdest story of the Carticelli stuff I've gotten so far.
Looks like he's
and
a
of
fan
course,
of.
the four covers.
But it looks like he's a fan of Frank Miller in Dark Knight 3.
Yeah, it could be. Like I said, it's a strange one. I'm enjoying it, but it wouldn't kill you to skip this one if you're a Stefano Carticelli fan. Because it's also a $6 issue. But being that, indies were $2 in 1984 or 5, whenever this one came out. It was.
Yeah, but Marvel was 75 cents.
Well, that's how expensive Marvel and DC are these days. Yeah. When they're the same price as indie comics, it's like, whoa.
That Goblin's mother had 80s new wave storefront windows for reference, and spent 25 years.
Windows books.
Window book. Yeah, window book.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So books of new wave storefront windows.
Huh. SBPT is here. Daredevil 90. Yeah, Daredevil number 90 with Michael Lark. The
castle one?
Yeah. Cover had the Eiffel Tower. Right. The Sintra only appears in one page anyway. But it's good. It's good. You can the photo reference was good. You can actually see the details in the castles.
And my favorite books from that was like I had one with like the inner workings of the railway and the electronics and stuff like that would be in like Grand Central. The hidden stuff that we don't see that will have like giant dynamos and things like that, where it's like, this is just interesting to look at in general. And it's like, it's almost future yet old tech, because it is old tech kind of a thing that could, work well in background. So always use references. One of the books that I picked up from last week that I missed was The Savage Dragon.
I
didn't get to look through it or skim through it, so the only thing I've seen was the cover, and of course, this cute back cover.
Mr. Glum.
And you have what's called Feral Kid is the dragon of this story. And let's see.
It was a good issue. I enjoyed it.
Page from the interior.
Smashing a giant robot.
Giant robots are always fun. And let's see. We'll show another. Well, we won't show that picture.
Don't flip to the last page.
Yeah, that's the one that popped open. It's like, well, not going to show that. I was
going to warn you about that, but
yeah, my stars and garters. So we'll show this regular one.
In Cliff-on Comics, interviewed Eric, posted an interview with Eric Larson, with terrible sound quality because apparently Eric doesn't have a microphone. But he was telling all about. He spent a lot of time talking about his early comics, like what was the name of that magazine he did? Graphic, where the original Dragon appeared.
Oh, Graphic Monthly, Graphic
like
Story
that.
Monthly or something. What was that?
Mm-hmm.
Graphic. I can't remember. 62 says the last page of that Savage Dragon is supposed to have a variant. I wonder if it's a more explicit variant.
Yeah. I know there was a Jack Kirby pinup in here.
Graphic Fantasy or Graphic Fantasy?
Yeah, Graphic Fantasy, yeah. He did mention Megaton because he got together with Gary Carlson. That's also where they published the original version of Youngblood when Rob was like 16. The Graphic Fantasy is where he had the original dragon.
Yeah, I couldn't even describe it to you, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if it's a variant or not. It is interesting seeing how, because I was watching a small documentary on the Tick today, and talking about how it originally published by a company that was doing it for their store, like a store newsletter.
Oh, that's right. New England Comics,
Yes.
NEC.
Hmm.
Now I
And it
remember.
was like, that they decided, oh, let's publish something. And the Tick was a part of that. And there is so many, because, most of us at the time, we just knew certain characters when they appear in
Right.
the, in the direct market and stuff like that. And then, we do get stories from Eric saying, oh, yeah, it first appeared in this or in that. And sometimes you'll get that information in a magazine like Comic Scene or Comics Interview. And there's so many books that started that way that it first published somewhere else. And it's like, I don't know if there was ever a database made that include these, because a lot of them are just fanzines that may have not gone more than an issue or two.
I think like Wizard Magazine originally started as a local newsletter
Right.
for
The
the
pull list type
comic
thing.
shop. And I think New England Comics also had their own printed newsletter that the Tick appeared in.
Right.
Now it's all digital.
Heck, even Marvel had their own interior newsletter for a while that I know that Holly published. Holly Riandau
Yeah.
put together an interior newsletter. I think she had something called Holly's Remarks, and John Romita Sr. had something called Raiders of the Lost Art.
Ah.
It was like I've only ever remember seeing like one issue published,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they did that monthly or if that was something they did once in a while. But there was like like a 2-page interior newsletter at Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Then Secret Galaxy docs are always good. The Tick one was nice.
Yes, that was the one that I actually watched.
The most heartbreaking story from Larson that I never forget is the one where he tells how a wildfire took away all of his first comics. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he lost a lot. His whole original art collection too.
Yeah, Cliff didn't ask about that, but he was trying to convince Eric that he should go back to Marvel to draw Carnage. Because here's the thing, Eric drew the first appearance of Cletus Cassidy, but he was no longer at Marvel when he turned into Carnage. So he never drew Carnage in a story. He admitted he gets asked for commissions with Carnage, and he does draw them, but he's never drawn it for a Marvel comic.
Let's see, another comic I got this week is former Marvel bullpenner Paul Azacetta's The Seasons, written by Rick Remender. Wilson and I both worked with Paul. And at the end, it says next issue is the penultimate issue. So I guess this is ending at issue 13 because the story is heating up. They found their parents, lots of fantasy stuff going on with this daughters, summer, winter, autumn, and spring. It's hard to describe the story that's going on. They tied it into mythology with this issue. But I've enjoyed this series. It's been fun stuff. Let's see. I think it says at the end. Where is it? Where did I see it? I don't know. Somewhere around here. Next issue. Nope, that just says next issue. Somewhere in here, I thought it said, join us. Nothing is more satisfying. Let's see if it says that at the end of the letters page. Okay. We are back in 6 weeks with the penultimate chapter. So I think that means
double
that
size.
This is issue 11. Penultimate is next to last. So issue
12,
13 must be the last, unless a chapter is a trade paperback. I don't know.
I don't know.
Or they end in an annual.
Yeah. So, but I think it's wrapping up with issue 13.
Interesting what Jared said about the problem with parallel universes and duplicating characters.
Yeah.
Now you have to go on his live stream and argue with him about it.
Duplicate. Well, I just think that's an intellectual property thing too. That's when your best-selling intellectual property is Spider-Man and Batman, it's easier to make an alternate version of them than to try to create a whole new character and make them as popular. So I think like alternate timelines have given them the key to doing that.
Oh yeah, they're basically now franchising their characters.
Yeah.
You know, Spider-Man, Batman are no longer the loners.
No.
You know, they have clones of themselves
Yeah.
running around, you know. But, you know, God forbid you create your own character that's almost like Spider-Man. You might be diluting the IP and
Oh yeah.
We don't want to confuse the fans was always the biggest reason why they were going after people.
The Tick live action with Patrick Warburton was fun. Batman, well actor, later ended up in the Nolan Batman movies as the mayor.
I think I watched one episode of that, The Tick, back in the day. And I don't know why I never watched any more.
Carnage is Bagley's baby. Yeah, it kind of became because he's good at drawing all those crazy liquid effects. What if your parallel universe counterpart was on a mission to assassinate you?
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, that already exists. It came. It's called Infinity War, which is the sequel to the Infinity Gauntlet at Marvel.
And also, I don't have a doppelganger coming after me. Because he as an assassin is already leading a more interesting life than I am.
Although my doppelganger probably has bad taste. He probably likes rum instead of whiskey. Eric has picked up issue 10 of Seasons based on your comments.
Yeah. Did you like it? I enjoyed it.
Image website shows number 13 shipped in September.
Okay, so I guess it's
series. Yeah.
Okay, so it is 13 is the series finale.
Oh, okay.
Damn you! No. You have to go back in time before the 90s and create it yourself, so that you can create an alternate timeline where you, instead of Jim Starlin, gets rich. More interestingly, life impossible.
That's why, as I said last week, we're never going to be able to write a Pulitzer Prize winning graphic novel memoir. My life's just not that interesting.
Eric still has to read season 10.
There'll be a 9-panel grid of me sitting in front of the computer and the occasional click.
Click. While the TV plays in the background.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't play the TV in the background because there'll be click, then watch. 20 minutes, click, and then watch.
That's why
audiobooks work better.
Now I listen to YouTube stuff. I used to it was always something that I'd seen before.
Right. It's either something I saw so many times that I know when to look. It's like, oh, this is that cool scene.
I'll watch my favorite part. Okay, back to work.
Yeah, exactly. Or nowadays audiobooks I can listen to when I'm doing stuff.
Right.
And so that ends up working better for me.
And speaking of memoirs, I read another of my library books this week. Good Girls Go to Hell by Tobar Sherman Friedman. What was her name? Tohar, Tohar, Sherman Friedman. And this was originally published in France, it says in the back. And this version is published by Graphic Mundi, an imprint of Pennsylvania State University Press. I'm like, how did they end up publishing it? Originally published in French.
Probably a grant.
Yeah. La Fille Sages Vont en Enfer. Okay.
Yeah, well, she's got Yeah, her Bedetech profile is very incomplete. That one's not here.
She's Israeli,
Yeah.
and it's the story of growing up in a settlement on the West Bank. And it's not political at all. Growing up Orthodox, too. Though she eventually moves to Tel Aviv and gets married. So she's like 16 years old in this whole thing. Little, 14 to 16, I think. And then she grows up at the end a bit. But it was a nice story.
So it's the complete opposite of Persepolis?
Yeah, I guess you'd call it that. But it was a nice story. I enjoyed it. Some good artwork, some nice coloring. This is the set. This was just at my local library, so I decided to give it a read.
The cover to that looks like our Nuno Saraiva was a Portuguese artist. Yeah, and some of the covers he does, they have that design sense that graphic novel has.
I wonder how it ended up being published in France first.
It's probably easier for Israelis to go to Europe, especially if they want to do graphic novel. Yeah, this also the story theme.
Mm-hmm.
Easier to find publishers that will do that for you in France. Okay, there it is. Les filles de Saint Jean d'Enfer. Ouais. There it is. This was published by a major. Delcourt. But yeah. Ooh. Funny tidbit, because Bedetech also... Bedetech is like the grand comics database of French comics. But they also have a bookstore. So they have the weight of the comics in case, so that you know how much you're paying in postage. And
that's a good idea. Yeah.
And Bad Girls Go to Hell in France weighs 666 grams.
Nice.
How much is that in ounces?
I wonder.
23 and a half ounces. So you know now that 23 and a half ounces is the weight of the devil.
I wonder what language it was originally written in. Because it could have been originally written in English. I know a lot of people in Israel speak English.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't originally written in French, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really know. But there's definitely a translator listed here.
Yeah, it's probably she wrote it in Hebrew, and it was translated. Yeah.
That could have been it too.
Especially if maybe Joan Sfar was the one who did the translation, because Sfar is a Jewish French author, and quite famous in France. We've had a few stuff published here, and I've never been very interested, but you probably like his art.
Okay.
If any of you viewers important, now you really should look for Nuno Saraiva's new graphic novel Neighbors.
Neighbors.
Okay. For North Americans in Lisbon. Well, they better not be tourists.
North Americans. Mm-hmm.
You should see the amount of YouTube compilations about dumb American tourists in Europe. Yeah.
Which is the boat that speaks English? I can just remember one of my social studies teachers back in high school telling me that story about, the old sort of cliche of the ugly American. And my social studies teacher was on vacation somewhere in Europe where, English wasn't the first language. And someone in the group in the boat just shouted that out. And everybody else was just like, oh.
No, it's always fun to see somebody, an American in Italy, ordering a latte. Now, latte means milk in Italian. So they bring them a glass of milk. And then what is this? It's milk. That's what you ordered. Or they ask for a pepperoni pizza. And pepperoni means bell pepper in Italian.
Amazing.
Whoops.
Gotta learn the language.
Or at least enough of the menu.
Mhm.
My menu French is pretty good.
Not tourists.
Not tourists,
digital nomads.
digital nomads.
Yeah, there's a few. And if you are going back because they had a grace period of 10 years where with reduced taxes, and as soon as they started paying normal taxes, whoa, I didn't know I paid this much. I had to pay this much taxes in Europe. Well, yeah. How do you expect us to fund our national healthcare service?
And I just was writing a blog, and I'm going to make a video about it too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if Wilson remembers these. Speaking of bevels, do you remember? Though I can show this set of ellipses.
I am aware of those. I never owned any myself, but I was aware of those.
These are the ones because in the 90s, when we still did everything before the digital age, artists and especially inkers were always looking for ellipse sets, and most ellipse sets were small. They were about that big. The ellipses went from a fraction of an inch to nearly 2 inches. Here's a regular circle template. They're usually around this big, but this is circles, not ellipses. But then, and even in the 90s, there wasn't that much mechanical drawing being done anymore, like in terms of blueprints and things like that. Most of that stuff was computer-aided design stuff. So ellipse templates were kind of out of fashion even by the 90s. But this was, you can see how old and battered this is. You can tell how old this is just from the 1950s industrial design.
Yes.
But there was 3 different sets of these, and nobody had the first 2 sets. Pearl Paint. This is the set that's it's got 5 of them, and they're all nearly circles. It's like 60 degrees through 80 degrees, and this was the only set any of us could get.
Yeah.
Because it was at Pearl Paint, and the sets were real expensive too. This set, over the years, I've added to it other ones, like nearly as big ones. But and it's like you couldn't find these sets anywhere. This is before the internet. And everybody, did you have a set of regular size ellipses, Wilson?
Yes, I had a set of regular size ones that I know I still have. I took a
Right.
look over to the side to see if I could grab them, but I must have put them away because I haven't been using them for a while. I did have a set that was a little more modern
Uh-huh.
at the time I got them because I tried to get as many as I could, especially during the time that I
Yeah.
was inking.
That's what we all did. Because the base set came with, I think, 10, 30, 45, and 60 degrees. That's the how narrow the ellipse is. And that was like the base set you could get everywhere.
Yeah.
Then if you could find them at places like Pearl Paint, you'd get like 50, 55 degrees, 40 degrees, 35 degrees, and you like build up your own set.
Yeah, you pretty much go to like flea markets.
Yeah.
I was lucky when I was younger. My parents used to go to like um to garage sales, and
Right.
we stayed with someone who was an artist, and I did get like some classic T squares and some triangles and the metal pencil sharpener, a big heavy one of
Right.
those heavy ones. The I think it was brass or some wrought iron dome that was a pencil sharpener, and it was a couple of T squares and like I said, some triangles. I may have gotten an ellipsis or two from that, and
I
I
ended
always
up
kept an eye out for old
I
tools.
ended up just getting. I went on eBay to look for. I was like, you know what? I want to see if those ellipse templates are around. And sure enough, you can find that set I just got there, plus the other two sets. The one that's got 15, but I bought the one with 10. I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's over here. I'm gonna make a video putting this whole story in one place. So I bought this, which has got from 10 degrees to 60 degrees in it.
Nice.
This is one of the others. Cost me, and these are still not cheap. This with tax, but I don't think anyone buys them. With tax and shipping was $45. But if I were to buy this in like 1992, it was probably like $150.
Yeah.
Because they were because each individual small template was like $6 or $7. So these big ones were like $10 but you could only find them in the set, and you couldn't find the set except for that one of the near circular ones. So along with this, so now I have those goes. Do you remember? Do you remember this?
That does not look familiar to me.
This is a beveler. You can see right in there. You squeeze on your template, and it puts these dots in there. Whoops. These bumps, these bevels. You can see all those dots there.
Right.
Are bevels, so that when you put it on your paper, it's not perfectly flat, and you can use ink, and the ink doesn't seep under it.
Right. Okay.
But so if none of those, most templates don't have bevels on them. With this, you can put bevels into things, and this was probably the last beveler at Marvel.
Okay.
Because if you remember the days of the endless supply closet, that's when Marvel would give out art supplies to all its artists. So it had a locked closet full of art supplies, and we used to call it the endless art supply closet, because if you know anything about budgets, the way budgets work is if they give you $1,000 this quarter, and you say, I only spent $500, I saved $1,000, they only give you $500 the next quarter. So you have to spend all the money in your budget. That way they give you the same budget next quarter, if not more.
Right.
So they had everything in that art supply closet. And the one of the things that they usually just had one of these, and it was kicking around the bullpen. But inevitably someone would just take it home. So every few months, they'd be buying a new beveler. And I would just bring my templates into Marvel usually and bevel them. The other thing you can do is when I didn't have the beveler, I would use a drop of Elmer's glue. So you put a drop of Elmer's glue on the bottom, just like you would make these bevels, except you're making it with Elmer's glue. Little dots of Elmer's glue. And the Elmer's glue dries into a little dome, and that lifts it off the page so you can ink with it. So it was, you remember when Marvel was moving from Park Avenue up to 40th Street?
Right.
They were getting rid of a lot of stuff. I don't even know if I saw this there, except when we got to 40th Street, this was kicking around. Like it had been 5 years since anybody used a beveler. at Marvel. So this was just kicking around with some for months before I went, you know what? I'm just taking that home. So this was probably the last beveler ever that was at Marvel. And I'm going to use it on those new ellipse templates.
Very nice. Yep, never heard of a beveler. It makes complete sense why you
Yeah,
would use one of those.
right.
Because I remember I did have most of the ones that I owned had bevels already made for them, but there were times where it's like I remember having to put like a piece of tape on it to get just to rise it just slightly more.
Yeah, a lot of
Elmer's
you,
glue is a great idea.
yeah, the elm people would use tape, but that was so tough to do. It's like you had to put tape around each circle, kind of. It didn't quite work. The Elmer's glue worked a lot better.
Right.
And by the way, this is technically called a Picket Template Ink Riser. Picket is the brand, and then Template Ink Riser is what it is. But it's just a little, what is that, a die and press? What do they call it? The die is the part that punches something out. And then the other part, I forget the name of.
Oh, I probably knew the name from button makers, but
It's
not off the top
some
of my.
technical stuff. The
Did
punch
Calvin,
and die or something like that. But yeah, that was probably the last one.
people were interested in that because that did Calvin remembers that his grandfather had one.
The Looney's taped to the bottom was a gift to each of his grand. I use Looney as his bevel. Loonies are the coins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eric asked you to do a demo in your next
Yeah,
video.
I should do that. I'll show the ink going underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into the habit of like whenever I see like vintage tools, that's like, oh, if it's an affordable price, it's like, I want to get it. Just
Yeah.
I may not use it, but I want the vintage
I,
tools,
I still
you
I
know, and I
still
end up using.
use my my ellipse templates all the time,
Yeah.
especially on my Dreams of Things covers and on my big ink drawings. Because
Now, we,
I'm always
Yeah,
inking a curve.
yeah. When I'm inking, I still use them.
now
Yeah.
I just had a great idea, and we need to pitch this to the History Channel. Obsolete office supplies.
There's a website called the Museum of Obsolete Art Supplies. That's pretty cool. You can find all this stuff there. Usually, you can at least see pictures of it. You can't actually get it.
Right.
But yeah, those ellipse templates were sold as vintage ellipse templates. Like I said, I think with shipping and tax, they cost me $45, and that was the cheapest I could find them for. A lot
Right.
of people have them for $60 or $80, and it can be any one of the three sets usually. But we were always hunting for ellipse templates at Marvel in the '90s, and like I said, Pearl Paint had that one set that was kind of the most useless of the big sets, but
That's why
you
you can
know,
still find them.
yeah,
No one was using those.
right. No one was using them. Like I said, by the early '90s, I'm pretty sure most ellipse template, especially those, were out of style because those were probably used by people doing mechanical drawing, and
Yeah.
mechanical drawing went digital long before any other type of drawing. Hmm.
Obsolete art tools would be great YouTube short series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many of them
Yes.
I still use.
Yeah. That or it's like when I went hunting to get a Ames the lettering guide, it's like I can't find them in any art store.
Oh no.
And it's like
I
I used to see them all over the place, and then once I decided I want to play around with this particular tool, it's like I can't find it.
I don't know where mine is. It's somewhere in here. So I can't even find it in this room, let alone an art store.
And it's like it's an affordable thing. It's still like under $4. Because I could buy it online, but at the time it was like I like going to an art store, just picking something up.
Tinted Goblins. The Museum of Art Supplies website keeps crashing.
Whoops. Everybody from here rushed to see. Our thousands of viewers.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait, at
another
the
website
same
is part of
time.
Its website is the museum.
There was a bunch of those templates at my dad's stuff. He was a draftsman.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
If he was doing drafting, he had templates. No
And for a
doubt.
while, like French curves was something to try to find. The older ones were better.
Right, you cannot buy good French curves anymore.
Not at all, because I remember getting them. Harry Candelero taught me how to use French curves
Right.
with inking comic books, and he invited me to his house, and we like spend a day just talking about inking comics, and then what to do with your curves, because because some of them would be bevels, most of them were not, and
Right.
you would do the penny thing. What he liked using was washers, but they was like not any washers. Like you had to get them from a hardware store, not buy it at a Target. Go to like a real hardware store and get these particular washers and just glue them onto your French curves to give you the right amount of lift, because the washers were just slightly thinner than pennies.
I use French curves all the time, but when you go to buy a new French curve, like these lines aren't smooth anymore. It's like whatever the machines they make them on must be really old and nobody cares, because you go to
Yeah.
make a curve like this and it's not smooth. I mean, this curve is jagged right now. It's like I can't even replace this one, because if you go to look at them, and I discovered this like 20 years ago, these curves aren't smooth. They're like, obviously the machine, they needed to replace the machines a long time ago and they never did.
And they
And it's
never
probably
did.
not a high priority.
And there's a set that are blue ones. I think Alvin does them,
Right.
and those have there's like one that has a bump
Yeah.
on the curve. So I don't know if it's molded plastic and they're just pulling it out
Yeah.
of a
Whatever the
template or
machines
something.
are that make them are not
Right.
good anymore, but they just
Yeah.
keep making them.
And they just keep one after the other, and it's just again, they're not as good.
I actually discovered that probably early 2000s. My curves wore out because, I'd been using them for a decade or more. So I went to the art store, my local AC Moore, bought another set of French curves, got them home, and they were so bad, I returned them. I thought it was just I got a bad set.
Right.
So I was going to exchange them, but all of them were bad. I was just like, ooh. And then I hunted around more and more and finally found a set where like one of the 5 curves was good, and used that. And I've been looking online too. It's tough to find even online good vintage French curve sets.
Yeah.
Because they all got used up. Good art supplies, you can't get good ones anymore. And another comic book I got to get us back to comic books is World Tree. What issue number do we have? 21. This has been a good series. You never know what time period you're going to be in, because they started out this story trying to stop a dystopian future from happening, and then they flash forwarded to a time where the dystopian future had already happened. Then they flashed back before the dystopian future happened. So I don't know if they're trying to stop it and if they can or not.
Captain Infinity is going to hate this malleable timeline.
I don't know if it's because it's not a time travel story. It's just a story with 2 different timelines in it. So I don't know how the 2 timelines are going to eventually make sense together, unless one just runs right into the other. But it's good. It's a cyberpunk story about something living under the internet that's taking over the world.
But the characters are the same, right? Doesn't matter which timeline they're in.
No, there's a lot. There's like one character who's the same. A lot of the others were dead or something.
Hmm.
So they introduced some new characters, and a couple of them were the same, I think. But we've been back to the original time for a few issues now. So it's kind of like, oh, all right. But it's a fun story. It's kind of there's some action, there's some cyberpunk stuff, there's some backstory, there's all sorts of stuff going on in it. I think that's a James Tinian written one, right? Yeah, James Tinian and Blanco is the artist. Fernando Blanco. Colors by Jordi Belair. Letters by Aditya Bidikar. Yeah, I've ended up with about 4 James Tinian series, I think I'm buying. Mm-hmm.
I'll grab one of my books. So
Show
we
us what you
have
got.
Amazing Spider-Man issue number 32, written by Joe Kelly, and art by Patrick Gleason and Marco Menzi. Page inside. Oh,
Now
and this issue has
that's a good example of a page that I was talking about last week when I said if you're going to do sort of the book publisher stuff, make the yeah, it's best if you make the art unchallenging. That art is way more. I don't think a bookstore buyer would know what to make of that art.
Yeah, it is a bit.
That's for us comic book fans.
Yeah, because we've been reading it long enough to know what's going on, or we hope we know what's going on in these stories. But what's also in this book is celebrating 50 years of storytelling with Ralph Macchio.
Oh, look at that.
So instead of being in a notice of passing, it's more of a celebration of what he did.
Well, that's good. That's nice.
That's a nice new thing to see, because usually when you open up to these 2-page spreads with comic book artists in them is usually in memorial, which is what
They're
we
like, hey,
have.
let's give him a little something before he goes. Now that he's probably gotten over his retirement, as I put that in quotes.
Right.
Because I think he wanted to still keep working there, but they were like, no.
I could see that. I could definitely see him wanting to stay. There are stories of him being fired and still coming into work.
It's amazing that anybody retires from Marvel.
Yeah. Very much so.
Usually everybody gets fired long before any retirement age kicks in.
Yeah, there's only been a few, with John Romita and Virginia both retired at the same time, and we got to celebrate that retirement.
Right.
And so that was a fun time. Most of the time we don't get that kind of a goodbye.
I'm trying to think of any other editor who retired from Marvel. Man.
I cannot think of one. I think every other editor was asked to leave before there was any type of retirement going on. There were employees, like I think we were there for Millie retirement.
Millie retired, yep.
Right.
I don't know if
again, that's about it that I can think of.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So Al Milgrom was fired. And when Al Milgrom was fired for good, he wasn't an editor anymore. He was just inking. Because he did the the Thinking Earth X.
They didn't fire him for that. He wasn't fired. I do remember editors walking around being told, "Yeah, you can still hire him for stuff. That there's no blacklisting of him."
Hmm.
I don't think he did get much work after that,
Yeah.
but he wasn't. I think what he did lose was the contract that he was
Right.
guaranteed certain amount of work.
Well, you're not actually guaranteed the work. You still got to
No,
find it. They
you still got to
they
find
pay
it
you as if
yourself.
you're doing that much work.
Right. So that
That's
contract, I think, was not um,
renewed.
renewed.
Yeah. Because you can end up owing Marvel money at the end of that contract.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's nuts.
Yeah, completely. Oh,
Yeah, I can't think of any other. Bob Harris fired. Tom
yeah.
Brevoort's still there. He has a chance to retire.
Yes, he does.
So
I've
he's
seen
another
some
one who has a
comments that
chance.
if he's hoping to get some kind of position at Disney, doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Who?
I saw some comments from the typical commentators who have sources.
Oh. Who wants a position at Disney?
Brevoort.
Brevoort?
I don't think so. Brevoort's comics all the way.
I'm not saying no.
Comics. Yeah.
I'm not saying if they didn't offer him a promotion at Disney,
By now,
that he wouldn't take it. But he's the. I don't think he was ever very ambitious. He just lasted.
mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a good editor too.
Yeah.
I always said his best talent was his ability to do what his bosses wanted without complaint, even though he knew it was terrible. It's like your average person / editor. You'd get some new vice president boss who's like, here's our new initiative, and it'll be something dumb, counterproductive, and destined to fail. And most people will roll their eyes at it. Tom Brevoort will go, all right, let's do that initiative. And he knows it's dumb and destined to fail. The boss told him to do it, so he's doing it. And you on the outside would never be able to tell because he wouldn't be sarcastic about it. He wouldn't be. That's why everybody thinks he's such a company man, because he will do his best to make whatever initiative his bosses come up with, whether it's good or bad, and mostly it's usually bad, he'll do his best to make it work. And no, most people don't do that. Most people are like, oh God, really? You want me to do this? And you can tell, even people on the outside can tell that they're not giving this their all.
Right.
So I think that's one of the reasons he's survived all these years. But he was never the type who was like looking for that promotion. He just got it because he was there. Didn't make waves.
And speaking of Tom Brevoort, so an idea that he had floated around in his blog once, apparently caught traction now on some comic book groups on Facebook. Do you guys think that that Henry Peter Gyrich is a grown-up version of Peter the Little Pest?
No, that's obviously Peter Parker.
No, it's redhead, and he has the crew cut.
Yeah, his hair changed color as he got older. My father, when he was a kid, had white hair. His whole childhood, he hit adolescence, it became brown.
Because Gyrich has that redhead crew cut.
Hey, I'm making him Peter Parker, okay, mister?
Yeah, Peter. It's right
name's
there.
Peter.
Peter. Looking at that piece of artwork, I would almost say that was made up. That was something created recently just because, hey, let's make a title. And I thought young Peter Parker. I thought
No,
Peter was just a little brat, and that's what it was for. But I
I can
didn't
see
know that
the
that was an
I
actual
can see
thing.
the Henry Peter Guy Rich angle though.
Yeah.
yeah, because the Beast used to deridedly call him Petey, and
Ah,
they call him
Did
Petey
he?
in the stories. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, there's that issue where Guy Ritchie has the Avengers go on a go on a government whatever, not a trial. Yeah, and wants to convince them that they're menaces, and the Beast as a throwaway line saying so what does that little pest want now?
Ah, so that was a clever writer knowing about this comic series and
Mhm.
connected himself.
Yeah, because Garish was created by Jim Shooter, but it was developed more by David Michelinie.
Okay.
And those stories are not, so these came out in 68, 69, but they're not original stories. They're re-lettered stories from the 1956 comic Melvin the Monster, and this is Joe Manili artwork.
ah,
Okay.
So Joe Manili, who does all those cool westerns and science fiction stories with lots of detail, also did this cartoony things. He had a couple. He also had a duck character that had one issue come out or something, but then it was the Marvel implosion, and it ended up going nowhere.
Ah, okay. You never knew that even existed. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, this one
Peter the
has
Little
like
Pest.
yeah, there's like the reprints have 4 issues, so it's Peter the Little Pest 1, 2, and 3, and PD number 4. Marvel had another comic at the time called Little Kids, where they also reprinted some of those 50 stories with little kids. They had a little Zelda and I can't remember the other ones. Little Aspirin. There was there were clones of Dennis the Menace, of Nancy, of Little Lulu. You know how Martin Goodman did that stuff. But they had a few of those, and the Little Kids comic from the 70s reprinted those stories and then all of a sudden they had a new character called Calvin by a guy who never did much comics. And I saw it in a blog once. That blog doesn't exist anymore, I think. But they did the stories. It was an attempt at doing a black school kid in the 70s that was just as sweet as a white kid in a kid's comic.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing covers for Calvin.
That was in Little Kids.
Calvin, I think I read that one
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s in the comic strips. I can picture
No,
him
it's not.
now.
No, that's not Calvin and Hobbes.
No, not Calvin and Hobbes. There was a little kid, a black kid, in the inner city. Was his
Yeah.
name Calvin?
It was. So
I don't remember the name of the strip. Might have been Calvin.
it's Calvin. So it's in Little Kids number 10, 11, and 12. Those
Okay.
came out. Those came out in 1973.
I'm thinking of something else. Then.
And the creator was called Kevin Banks, who never
Okay.
did much in comics apparently, because it's the only thing that's in the Grand Comics database is this. So maybe he was trying to do a newspaper strip and it never got picked up. And then
I'm thinking of an actual newspaper strip, but I can't remember what it is now. Mm-hmm. Another comic I got this week that was good is Innards number 2. And I'm glad it was good because I had to order number 3 last week. Final order cutoff for number 3 came last week. I don't know if this one was late or what, but this is a horror story takes place in a world where nuclear war happened, and now for some reason, in order to get power, they have to go down into the Earth's. They have to drill into the Earth and get this weird blue stuff that gives us power now. But it's a horror story about working in a mine deep in the Earth, and it's pretty good stuff. You know, we got a newbie guy here who we relate to. It's his first time working in the mine, and now, you know, horror stuff is starting to happen. There's something down there that's not good. But well, let's see what it says on the back. Decades after a catastrophic nuclear attack, humanity's last energy source, and its only fuel for hope, is a mineral buried miles beneath the Earth's surface, accessible only by teleportation. That's another thing. Teleportation isn't perfect. The guy teleporting down, his scar was on his other cheek. So things can go wrong. So, like, things are going wrong down underground. One of the guys is getting weird with it. So it's been, usually this is probably like a 5-issue story, I would imagine. Most of these Ignition Press books only go 4, 5, 6 issues. So, but
I do like that logo, the logo design.
Innards.
Yeah.
That's underground and above ground. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus the color and the way they do the colors.
Yeah. Not bad. Rob Guillory and Sam Lotfi. And Rob Guillory is the artist on Chew, right? Except he's the writer here.
That I don't know.
I think we discussed that. Rob Guillory was the artist on Chew. But he's the writer here, and Sam Lofty is the artist. And I still don't know what these numbers are for on the back of the book, where it says, unlock your story, ignitionpress.com. I went there. There was no place to put in a number to unlock our story.
Okay.
I've been wondering that about these silly Ignition Press numbers since I first got them.
What if the teleportee is swapping places with a counterpart from a parallel universe with a different scar? Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on with that teleportation?
Very true.
It's a little shady.
I just like you saying that. They don't have it perfected, but you know, they're using it.
They're using it, but you know, little things can go wrong.
I think I'm shorter now.
Yeah.
You guys didn't pick up Elsewhere.
I did not pick up Elsewhere.
See it, so
like I said, I read some of the issues digitally when John Byrne was first posting them, and I was just bored by it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
Howler Mouse did a live review of it, and
I saw that.
Byrne is actually still improving his art when he's trying to draw some effects, although it might be the inker as well.
There's no inker on it. I think it's all pencils.
No, but the printed version is ink.
Printed version is in ink.
Who inked it?
Not sure, because they were trying to duplicate the Byrne Austin look.
Because I can remember, I don't know if I want to call it a controversy, the discussion when Byrne first started doing this. Must be at least 5 years ago now. And I think we may have discussed this then, because Byrne was talking about maybe getting it published. And the stuff I read wasn't inked. And he wanted to get it inked. And I think he had done it all digitally. There were no pencils to it. So he wanted it inked in Blue Line. But then he said he wants half the inked pages back. The discussion came up of, does the penciler deserve half the inked pages if the inker is inking over Blue Line?
I say no. That's my gut reaction.
Yeah, mine too, but I don't know.
Yeah, because now you have a set. Because I know plenty of inkers who's done that, who's working
Yeah.
on, and because they're working it from home, they're not sending any artwork in.
Right.
The penciler
Usually,
has its. The
if
penciler
the
has its pencil.
penciler keeps the pencils and the
Yeah.
inker keeps the inks, but if there are no pencils, they're all
Right.
digital.
Okay, the inker is called Paul Wills.
Okay.
And he got better as he was doing the comic because the first chapter the inking looks terrible, and in the second chapter it looks amazing.
Yeah. And I thought it was always in pencils because I thought the challenge to John was can you pencil as tight as you used to for an inker to work over you. I think that was the basis of why he attempted it in the first place.
Yeah. They must have decided to
Oh.
give it to an inker when they were getting it published. Because, like I said,
Right.
the stuff I read was uninked.
Right. I remember it just being uninked, and it was more of him just doing this challenge to himself.
Yeah.
And then
They just wanted to do some X-Men stories.
yeah, exactly. And they weren't really meant to go anywhere. So from what I understand, that first story or the first book was just him playing around.
But during that video, Tim and who did he have on with him?
It's a guy who's been on a couple of times. I can't remember the.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but they were sounding like a couple of old men. This is how the X-Men should be.
Because considering what we've had since then, there was one thing that happened in this volume that is a waste.
Did you like it overall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they killed Shaw, and I wouldn't kill Shaw at this stage.
Shaw, who was one of
Sebastian Shaw,
Sebastian
the Hellfire Club.
Hellfire Club guy. What was his power?
He could convert kinetic energy into super strength.
Oh, okay.
So if you hit him, he absorbs the energy, and then he uses it against you. Which means you have to hit him indirectly. Usually it was Storm who was the best at defeating Shaw, because she would make it snow on him and he'd lose all his power.
Yeah. It was one of those guys where you had to find the absorbing man who, had to get him to touch glass and then you could shatter him. There was always like a gimmick to beating him.
Yeah.
Right. Got to be clever to get him.
You may be stronger than me, but I outsmarted you.
Like tricking a Mazo to absorb Batman's powers to find out he has no powers.
Thumbs up the video if you like. Thank you, Missing Mars. Yes, please thumbs up the video if you like.
Yes.
Can he convert dollar bills into quarters? No, but he can convert government
to loonies.
Government financing into houses on the beach.
I remember that. I think the first issue I read, they were in like the Savage Land or something.
Yeah.
Start out there. Okay.
Yeah. They have Carl Lycos turns into Sauron again, and it has Wolverine getting ripped apart, and he has to take a long time healing, like in the old days.
Right, he took a while to heal.
Yeah, I don't remember it being bad or anything. I just remember going, this isn't what I want to read.
I think a lot of people, but it's because it's not bad. It's kind of interesting, and besides, if you can do all those crazy versions of multiverses nowadays, just
why not the Byrne verse?
Yeah. It made me think. I mean, there was another thing that Byrne did, where he also had to quit the comic because of editorial interference, right. Which is Captain America, and Maybe see if Roger Stern can still write a script where they finally get to do that Red Skull story that they didn't do because they quit the comic.
Huh.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe this will bring another Elsewhen universe, or bring back maybe get Eric Larson to do Carnage through
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the initial print run that sold out right away was 20,000 copies,
Mhm.
which is good
And
for a trade
ref,
paperback. And then
yeah, yeah.
pardon
Yeah.
me, 25,000 copies. And then they went back for a second print run of 20,000 copies. I think that's what I read.
See that thing is outselling anything Marvel is putting out that doesn't have variant covers.
Yeah, you have a lot. I bet you a lot of them were, John Byrne X-Men fan from back in the day,
What
popping
do
up
they,
to pick that up.
what do they call them? Burn victims.
I think that's what the
They
website
were the
name
base
for them.
base level of John Byrne fans that always made a comic sellable.
Hmm.
It was like if John Byrne put out a comic, there'd always be a base level of fans there who would might not be the biggest hit on the shelf, but it would always be profitable because he
Yeah.
brought in a certain number of people. So it doesn't
In the
surprise me that a certain number of people have bought this.
in the 80s and 90s, there were only two creator names that the Brazilians put on the covers as a sales instrument. One was Frank Miller, the other one was John Byrne.
Yep. And in high school, everybody wanted to be a comic book artist, and they all wanted to draw like John Byrne.
He
And
inspired Rob Liefeld.
yep, the art of John Byrne went through that school.
Oh yeah,
Maybe there was 4 copies in the school, and everyone was borrowing everybody's copies to it
you.
because 10
I
bucks is
can
a lot of money to get that
I
book.
can
So
I can tell you went to an art high school because no one in my high school knew that book existed but me
hmm
and my friend Rob.
yeah, yep, it was like anything Byrne, we all got into it, and it's like I studied it. I learned how to do explosions, bubbles, and rocks. I couldn't do the anatomy the same way, although I drew Byrne hands, which were usually kind of like this. His hands were almost kind of the same, not really doing much. Occasionally, you get a nice Magneto one, but most of the time, if he's just walking, it's just this weird kind of hand that he would do with the characters walking and stuff like that.
Man, I just thought about that for a second.
Oh, and speaking of bad anatomy, the Avengers and Fantastic Four guest star in Elsewhere, and John Byrne finally figured out how to draw Franklin Richards.
It might be worth getting the book just for that.
Yeah, it actually looks like a real kid.
Ah,
I went to a big suburban high school. There was about 3,000 students in my high school. My friend Rob is the only one I knew who collected comics. That's how nobody that's how little people collected comics in those, or maybe they did and they didn't talk about it much. I don't
I
know.
think that was a thing as well, because even though
Yeah.
I went to the High School of Art and Design, my freshman year of high school was a regular high school in the Bronx called Evander Childs High School. Nobody, as far as I was aware of, read comics.
Yeah.
I was the only one that would have it in my class, and when school's starting, when you're in the homeroom, there's nothing to do. I would read comics, and people are like, "You're reading comics?" Yeah, many people in my junior high did. Wasn't a big deal. And
Yeah.
in the cafeteria, there were murals painted, fantasy stuff and stuff like that. And there was a Nightcrawler there, so somebody contributed a Nightcrawler. So someone was, and it was a Dave Cockrum Nightcrawler, because I remember the issue it came from. And then everything else was just fantasy or whatever. And it didn't. I did have an art class there, and my art teacher was very supportive, because he was like really excited when I said, "Yeah, I'm not coming here next year. I'm going to art and design." Well, he gave me
Yeah.
a ton of supplies because like here, it's
Right.
wasted here was basically what he was
Yeah.
saying. Use this stuff. He gave me canvases, kneaded erasers, just piles and piles of stuff, and he was really happy that was to go to art and design. It is years later that when I try to remember him, it's like he looked a lot like Elliot Brown. It wasn't him,
Ah,
but he
right.
reminded me of Elliot, his mannerisms and the way and it's like, but I don't think Elliot was ever a school teacher in the Bronx.
Yeah. There was one other guy from my high school who I ran into in the comic shop like 4 years ago or something. And he was a football team guy. And
Right.
I never had any idea he read comics. But apparently he did. He just didn't let anyone know.
Yeah. Like I said, when people ask, "Oh, you read comics?" Oh, no one reads those. But they knew what titles I was reading. So it's like, yeah, okay, sure. It's like, all right. But yeah, once I got to art and design, it's like, oh, everybody was reading comics. So it was like there were times where we were just like, oh, did you check this out? Did you read? And that's where I learned more about the indie books. Was there because again, it's like, oh, are you reading this? Are you reading that? Kind of a thing. But again, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way was the only really art book, and
Yeah.
The Art of John Byrne was the only sketchbook that existed that I was aware of that time.
The Art of Neil Adams was another
Right.
one I had.
Years later, yeah, The Art of Neil Adams. I think there was a Rick Butler one, or he was doing a How to Draw book. I think they had like a 4-issue type of thing, and then uh, who else? There's very few of them. And then the occasional George Bridgman book because there was a bit of a comic look to them.
Yeah.
And then there was the one about the Tarzan artist,
Vern Hogarth.
Bern Hogarth. So it's like, oh,
With
this
all those
guy,
weird figures.
yes. And then that was all that existed in the '80s that we
Yeah.
were aware of. So Byrne was the one that was really teaching because again, that was the book to get. That was the only one that existed that taught us comic book art, or at least to look at it.
Another comic I got this week.
With the big question, isn't Walter Simonson more creative than Byrne?
Yeah. I would take him over Byrne.
There was more. There was also more stuff being done with Walt across the comic industry. John was mostly superhero stuff. Walt was doing like aliens, and he was doing more than just the comic book superhero stuff, I think.
I agree with John Byrne when he said about himself, he was the Rob Liefeld of his day. He had more popularity than talent. Not that I think either of them are untalented, but I know what he means.
Yeah, I understand that kind of, he was the rock star of his time. I remember him being in interviews. So that
and he wasn't as talented, though I loved his stuff and his storytelling was really good. He wasn't as talented as the guys who could really draw, like Neil Adams or John Buscema, guys like that. But I loved his work like back then.
Right.
But I eventually got bored of it because I think he hit his limit.
Yeah, it was the 3 body types and the 3 facial types and the 3 hair types.
Yeah.
No, we all noticed, but even here we kind of noticed that.
Well, I never thought about that till I heard him read that on his site once. Probably because I never really gave it much thought, except that I used to be a John Byrne fan, but eventually when I stopped buying mainstream superhero stuff, of course I lost interest in John Byrne because that's what he does.
Right.
That's his forte. But on the same page, I never lost interest in George Perez, who I would put a notch above John Byrne. But that's me. But I got the latest issue of Die. I really don't like these covers very much.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's just not very striking. Die Loaded number, where's our number? 7. Kieran Gillen, Stephanie Hans, Clayton Cowles. And who's our letterer? I don't know where our letterer's name is here. But this is too complicated to explain. It's about people who are trapped in a role-playing game dimension. And this is volume 2 of it. And it is really complicated. The plot is so complicated. But it's good. It's well done. I actually only read volume 1 digitally before volume 2 came out. Because I was like, you know what? I want to see if I want to get volume 2. So let's read some of volume 1. And I did and liked it. So I said, now I'm getting volume 2. Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Stephanie Hans does everything else with Kieran Gillen. And it's a good series. I recommend it. I recommend reading. This is one that I'm sure you could just jump into volume 2. But volume 1 would probably be better to start off with. You know, this cover looks better small on screen than it does in real life. The design kind of hangs together when I'm looking at it 3 inches tall on screen. In a way, it doesn't hang together when I'm looking at it in real life. So maybe this is looks good in an icon. Because no one's buying this for its cover anyway. I may be disappointed that I don't like the cover, but nobody's buying this for the cover. You're buying it because you're a fan of Volume 1, or you're a fan of Kieran Gillen or Stephanie Hans. Or role-playing games. They actually published a role-playing game to go along with it. I think that's everything I got this. Oh, except for one other thing I got this week. I'll show you quickly. And that's The Forged, issue number 12. This is the last issue of the 4th trade paperback. These are all extra big in terms of page count and size. This is magazine size. It's a sci-fi military story. Good stuff. The last 2 issues have been really good. I've enjoyed that one thoroughly, and it's, if you want to check out Forged, it says, where does it say it? Don't miss The Forged Volume 4 in stores August 12th, 2026. Same day as that Godzilla. So I guess you can already get volumes 1 through 3. And I guess there's 3 issues per volume, but it's it must be 40 pages. So they can get those volumes out. But it's definitely a good read. Recommended.
There was such a big comic scene in my high school in the city. We made our own comics and sold them in school.
Oh,
nice.
Late 90s too. Early 80s, no such thing. Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perez reinvented himself several times. Byrne is stuck in the 80s. Byrne also...
He tried to come up with different ways to draw some things when he was in Next Man.
Byrne did try different things, but it was a job to him. Mm-hmm. I think for Perez, it was more of a passion. And that's normal. That's normal for comic book artists. You'll find, comic book artists, I remember reading them say, if you're not paying me, I'm not picking up a pencil. Then there were some who were graphomaniacs and couldn't stop drawing, Robert Crumb. And I think that George Perez was a fan of comic books and a fan of drawing comic books. It was still hard work like it is for everybody. But he really wanted to draw comics to the best of his ability. Mm-hmm. For John Byrne, it was a job. He has said, he's 9 to 5, John Byrne. Starts at 9, ends at 5. He wants a life. And I think he figured out the only way to make more money drawing comic books is to draw more comic book pages. So you've got a natural limit to how much money you can earn, which is unless you happen to be one of the top guys during one of the top times and you get tons of extra money for selling tons of extra comic. That has happened, but it usually doesn't.
Sure. He had to figure out how to draw 50 pages a month.
Right. Right. He figured out how to draw 50 pages a month. From 9 to 5. So it's not that he became any less talented. It's that he had to draw 50 pages a month. And he figured out how he could, and he had the talent to. He figured out what shortcuts he could take and still make a good comic book. And a lot of his fans didn't notice.
Yeah.
A lot of his fans were fine with it.
I think they started noticing in the 90s when he was doing Namor.
Some people did.
And contrary to most, I don't have a problem with his artwork in Namor. But I don't think the storytelling suffered at all. And I think he was having fun drawing Namor. But then he up and went back to DC. The usual pattern. Start at Marvel, get mad at Marvel, go to DC. Get mad at DC, move back to Marvel. Get mad.
I think he was trying some new stuff at Dark Horse too.
Yeah, he definitely was. And I know because I used to have this trade paperback of his with a James Bond clone. And he was definitely using fewer lines to get all the figures together. We could notice that. The storytelling wasn't different. I mean, if there's one thing that Byrne never evolved much on, it was layouts.
Right. But they were always good.
Yeah.
His layouts were always solid. He wasn't, Steranko trying out new stuff.
The facial expressions definitely got better.
Mm-hmm.
That was a thing that he probably had only 2 of, and now he had more. He had different ways of drawing smiles. He could see that the faces had different details. He didn't have to look at, especially because it's normal people. You can't count on the uniform of the costume to determine which characters are which. So you had to make them look different.
The one thing he didn't have is when he inked himself, he didn't have a lot of craft to his inking. Which is why a lot of people prefer like Terry Austin on him or an inker. Because he just didn't have the craft to his inking that a professional inker had. I can remember the stuff too that Nelson DeCastro, who was a very realistic artist, was inking him on some DC project. And DC told Nelson that they wanted him to ink him in a certain way and make it more realistic. That's why what they wanted Nelson to do. And John Byrne, I remember hearing, got mad at it because he changed his artwork so much. But that's what he was asked to do. So different. That DC clearly wasn't happy with Byrne's inking at that point either. For whatever reason.
When he was doing Fantastic Four, it started with him inking himself. And after a while, we got Bob Wyacek, we got Al Gordon and Jerry Ordway.
Right.
At DC, it was Dick Giordano. When he came back to Marvel on the Avengers West Coast, it was a guy called Mike Macklin, who I haven't seen much of. He was suited to Byrne's artwork.
I remember looking and discussing the first Byrne artist edition, the Fantastic Four one to come out. So I got a chance to, my friend got it. He's a big Byrne fan. I remember looking through it and looking at those early issues where he was inking himself. And he really didn't know how to ink. His drawing was all fine, of course. But inking, there's a lot of craft to inking. and once again, the difference between art and craft is with art, you only have to do something once. You only have to make this painting. And of course, they're related. There's craft in art and there's art and craft. When you hear like modern artists, like fine artists, that one of the critiques of them was always, oh, there's no craft in their painting. Craft is being able to paint a face that looks like a face all the time. That's what it is in painting. In inking, the craft was in using the tools and using the tools with your knowledge of how they're going to print to redraw this pencil drawing in a way that's consistent and makes sense visually. Because the pencilers weren't thinking about that. They were just, mostly drawing, and they weren't making a finished drawing. They were making a drawing that they knew was going to be inked. So when John Byrne first inked himself, he was really just drawing. He wasn't inking. He was drawing just kind of as he usually drew, but he wasn't choosing how to make lines with purpose. Because the inker is thinking about the line and how that line's going to print and what that line means to the figure. It's a different thinking than a penciler had. And you could see him learning more over time with inking. But those early ones, it was like he was just drawing. And he was just drawing in ink, which is different than inking. Mm-hmm. Art and craft. Art is craft. Art is creating. Craft is recreating. With craft, you have to be able to do the same thing over and over and over, which you don't have to do with art. When I'm one of the things I like to make up characters. I've got 1,000 characters, but I would only draw them once. That's the art of it. The craft of it would be to figure out how to draw this character over and over. Yeah. That's the craft of character design. You have to say, I'm not drawing this. Think of the difference between like the craft of animation and the craft of comic books. In comic books, you can figure out how to draw a character and, you'd learn over time. You refine how to draw it. In animation, from day one, you have to know how to draw that character and draw him from different angles, and it has to be the same every single time. That's the craft of comic books and the craft of animation and kind of what makes them different. Mm-hmm.
Something William Morris. Who's William Morris?
That's an ad agency guy, isn't he?
Yeah, isn't he the cigarette guy? the main agency that did the cigarette stuff?
The cigarette Marlboro was owned by Philip Morris.
Oh, okay, that's where I'm getting.
Yeah.
I think William Morris was an agency.
Was the ad agency? Yeah.
Now there's a thing that kind of that has a parallel in the automotive industry, because you have guys like Sergio Pininfarina drawing a beautiful concept car,
right?
That you put it in the auto show so that the people come and see it. Hey man, I like this car. Are you guys gonna?
He's only got to make one of them.
Yeah,
right.
But then you put it into production, and that thing has got to have a place for the steering wheel, and it needs a place for the radio, and you need to make sure that the head doesn't bump against the ceiling in the back seats. So now you have to figure out a way to draw the car in a way that's usable, and then you have to build it in an assembly line. So
that's the craft of building a car. Mm-hmm. Arts and craft movement. Okay. That's who William Morris is. Arts and craft movement. Make arts, make craft. And of course, there's art and craft, and there's craft in art. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you got to do things repeatedly.
Yes.
And sometimes you got to think up what's going to be on the front of that puzzle. What's that puzzle going to be about?
All right. Well, we haven't done a Reed Report Slab in a while. Do you have one for us?
Sure. What decade do you want?
Wilson?
We've been talking about Byrne in the 80s. Let's go visit the 80s.
Okay, let me
Let's see if you can find something with Byrne.
Let me see what I got in the 80s. Where is it? All of a sudden, I can't remember what folder it's in. Hold on.
Yeah, we haven't done it in months.
We haven't done it in ages. It's not there. Where do I have it hidden? It's in my work folder, right? RRS, right there, right where it should be. Ready to go. Let's see what we got. In the 80s. You know what I want to do? I want to do this one. 1980 February. Marvel Toys. Oh, wrong thing. No, I'm here. Where am I?
'80s Marvel toys are going to either be
There we go.
Migos or Secret Wars.
How did I get all this stuff open? Let's go. Oh, wrong thing. Keep hitting the. I haven't done this in so long and keep hitting the wrong buttons. Share screen. Share screen. Chrome tab. Oh, Chrome is what. Allow. Share. There we go. We got Shogun Warriors 16, Herb Trimpe, Micronauts 17, Michael Golden, and ROM number 6, Al Milgram.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Those are our Marvel toys from 1980.
Most of the ROM covers were not drawn by Sal Buscema.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was many of them.
Hmm.
And I got to say, not the most striking Michael Golden cover.
No, not at all.
No.
That's got to get it done.
Well, and the ROM cover is an action cover, so it makes me want to read that. But there's a certain
Shogun Warriors with a guy in the giant hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna read ROM.
I can show them if you ask again from your iPhone.
Shut up, Alexa.
Listen, talking to me for no reason.
Yeah. I'm going to read ROM. I'm going to slap Micronauts, and I'm going to rip Shogun Warriors because that cover is just too busy.
I like that cover.
It's a nice cover. I like it too. I'm going to slab the Shogun Warriors because I already read it. I know I have that recently. Slab Shogun Warriors, but what do I want to read? I think I'm going to want to read ROM. And unfortunately, that means I got to rip a golden cover.
Ooh.
Ooh.
They came from inner space.
Yeah.
ROM was generally a pretty good read.
ROM usually was. As far as, superhero robots from outer space, ROM was fun to read because you're not...
Bill Mantlo, Sal Buscema, solid team.
And it's technology versus sorcery because those are the Dyrath witches on that cover there. Yeah, I bet you I would enjoy reading that ROM.
What is it? Hellhounds of the Black Nebula?
Yeah.
Ooh, scary.
Title right there. That's the name of the band.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Hellhounds of the Black Nebula.
Yeah!
The Shogun Warriors are actually going over the logo too. I noticed that you didn't see a lot of that in 1980.
Yeah. Breaking some rules there.
Yeah, Tit Goblin agrees with me, so he's reading ROM, ripping Shogun, and slamming Micro. On the other end, Eric is reading Shogun, ripping ROM, and slamming Micro. His Dolphin...
the guy in
Dolphin, the Psycho Man, yeah. Flamingo in a cell, yeah.
Oh, that's the Psycho Man. Oh, I didn't even realize it. I could.
In Micronauts? Wow.
Yeah.
In a Microverse, the Psycho Man.
I'm going to be the only one who knows what's happening in that Micronaut story. So I'm going to read that one. Everybody's slabbing it. You won't know what happens. I'll know what happens when Psychonaut takes on the Micronauts. So I guess I'm going to...
Read Shogun, slap Micronauts, rip ROM. Come on, you used to read ROM.
I'm going to slab ROM and rip the Shogun Warriors. Because I think that'll make a nice conversation piece. Yes, I've got ROM number 6 slabbed. Is that 6? What is that?
Someone's going to stick dolphins in all the UPCs. No, Captain, that is not the game. You cannot buy all 3. This is fuck Mary Kill for. This is fuck Mary Kill for comics.
A game with strict rules. You should understand that.
Yes,
we have rules.
Just like time travel, you have to understand rules 1, 2, and 3, and the rules 1, 2, and rule number 1 and rule number 2 are the same. You buy one comic. You read one comic. You slap one comic. You rip one comic. There's no other way.
I'm gonna dolphin Rom to make that cover even scarier. So those hellhounds from the Black Nebula will be choking out a dolphin.
I must denounce my countryman as a heretic.
I read ROM once and I hated it. What issue did you read? Couldn't read them all. 75 issues to pick. One or two might have been bad.
Maybe it was one of the Steve Ditko issues at the end.
I'm going to put the flamingos on that Shogun Warriors cover, and they're going to be going, gee, it's awfully busy in here.
I'm going to do the same with the flamingos. I'm putting them in his hands. They should be created. Yeah. I'm
putting them in the negative space, that white negative space way up and back.
To fill up more?
Yeah. Take away that little negative space that's left. I'm going to fill it right up with our flamingos.
Yeah, I'm going to put the flamingos in the hand of the robot that's holding the other guy.
Yeah, that's where I was planning to put mine.
And
that looks like a relaxing spot for them.
Yeah,
I'm going to dolphin ROM's neutralizer. But the dolphin still has the neutralizer's power.
I'm going to dolphin Psycho Man. I'm going to replace Psycho Man with the dolphin. I think the dolphin can take the energy better.
Screaming dolphin. The Screaming Dolphin cover. Somebody forgot it was Friday.
Oh, you catch up. We got 3 minutes to wrap everything up.
He's been too busy reading those hot stuff comics to know what day it is.
And looking for the last remaining Luis Dominguez comics that he doesn't have in his collection. Eric, Micronauts and the Fantastic Four versus Psycho Man, and Biotron is destroyed but rebuilt in the harder they fall. See, Eric has read the comic. He can tell
us. Bill Mantle with art by Howard Chaykin. I made the right call reading that one.
You did.
Okay.
Micronauts.
So that means you have to read the Micronauts and slab ROM.
Or is it the other way? Is the slab marrying someone because you're encapsulating them forever?
No, you want to know the person you're marrying, so I think you read it. I would guess.
Yeah, you put the slab as you're on the wall, just when you want to look at it, and flaunt it in the wife's face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that Micronauts cover at all, and I had all those Micronauts issues.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I didn't have those issues. That's early Micronauts. Not early, but...
I might not have had ROM number 6. I think I started collecting it regularly in the teens.
I think by the time I started reading ROM, it was in the high numbers, and I slowly went back and bought issues. At least try to get all the golden cover issues that I could.
Right.
And I found issue 1 lying around in Marvel uh, in the batch, one of the bins, and the one that I have is signed allegedly, because again I didn't see this happen, but the one that I have is signed by Stan Lee in pen. So I don't know if someone was there practicing trying Stan's signature, or if it
You,
was Stan and it ended up in that bin.
you never know.
Don't know.
Ah.
Reading comics and copies of Micronauts number 17 are $3 on my comic shop.
Nice. I think
they put out a facsimile of issue 1, I think, last year. I got that and reread it, and it wasn't as good as I remember.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you only needed to read the first 12 out of all 59.
Those are the Michael Golden ones, so
right? Because Andy, you could pretend that that they lived happily ever after, and Baron Karza was dead.
Baron Vader.
Yeah. Let me speed run through these last set of books.
Okay.
Transformer issue number 34. We have Godzilla issue number 12.
Regular Godzilla.
Thundercats X Silver Hulk issue number 4. Panther on the cover. I forget his name.
The useless guy.
The guy has Lionel's voice that plays the guitar. And
that was the useless guy in the cartoon. the chauffeur.
He's the guy that drives the plane. An Absolute Batman issue number 22, covering the logo almost fully. So you can only read Bat.
It's not 1980 anymore.
That's right. Big No-No was covering that logo, and there it is, covering the whole thing. And those are the books that I got at the shop today.
That was not Doc Brown. That guy appeared in an episode of the Transformers. He was an ally of he was a traitor and an ally of the Decepticons. I think he thought he could control them.
Yeah, he was one of the mad scientists.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go with Micronauts just for the "They came from inner space" tagline. I love that tagline. Put that on a movie poster with a bunch of mysterious Micronauts.
Oh, and it's the best toy tie-in.
They came from inner space. Let's get some balloons going.
Yeah, that's right. So we didn't have Julio.
We'll be on my channel next week.
That's right.
I'll see you there.
And remember that Jared and Wilson's channels are down there in the description, so you can subscribe to them.
Hey, where'd my lasers go? There's my lasers. In the description. Woohoo! So you can follow both of us. You can see my my exciting ellipse template video when I put it out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about recording it tomorrow.
I thought Taylor Swift killed Wilson by shutting off his powers in this. I had we lost power for about 20 minutes some point last week. It was I don't know if it's because we had like 2 air conditioners going on in the computers, but something happened. We lost power. We thought it was the regular circuit break. We went to look. It's like it's not. It's in the basement. And good thing it happened in the middle of the day, because if it happened in the middle of the night, we would have been without power until the next day. And it was just something just went. So it got hot here real fast for those 20 minutes last, because this was during one of those 100 degree days.
We don't ever know what's up with Chris. When he shows up, he shows up. And he tells us what's up.
It's a magical time when Chris shows up. So
he was here 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, he's probably just doing cons.
Yeah, well, yeah, San Diego is in 2 weeks. This weekend is G Fest in Chicago, the Godzilla Con. Which
The one in
day I gotta
Connecticut
pick up.
is the second weekend in August.
Terrificon?
Yeah, that's the name of it.
Yes, I believe so.
Well, we'll
All
talk
right.
time travel.
All right.
So everybody have a good week. We'll catch you next time.